Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel today. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you all. And if you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. Thank you for stopping by. Kindly hit the subscription button and put on the notification bell to get notified when a new video is up. Today we'll be learning how to draft a full-scale basic bodice, and from this you can also get your half-scale basic bodice. So this is like a two-in-one. Let's get started. Already I divided this paper into two because I was sure that half of it was going to accommodate the biggest measurement that I'll be using today, which is my hip measurement. But depending on the measurement you are using, if you are not sure if yours is going to accommodate it, then you can go ahead and draft the front pattern first, then you can pick another paper to draft the back pattern. But today I'll be using one side for the front and the other side for the back pattern. The first thing I'll do is to measure the length that I'll be using. So since this is a full scale basic bodice, I'll be making use of length 23. That is my own measurement, so make use of yours. Length 23. I'll roll that out. So this will be my front. This will be the back pattern. So the next thing I will do after measuring the length is to measure out my chest line, the bust point, and my waist, and the waist line. To get the chest line, I make use of this formula. That's what I'll be using, and it has been working for me, so I'm sure it is going to work for you as well. I'll divide the bust measurement by 6, then add 1.5, after which I'll add 1. My bust is 36. 36 divided by 6 is 6. 6 plus 1.5 is 7.5. 7.5 is my chest line. But because I'll be taking out 1 inch for the shoulder slant, I would need to add that 1 inch to it. So I'll be making use of 8.5. 8.5 is my chest line. I'll take that again, divide the bust by 6, add 1.5, then add 1, because we are still going to slant the shoulder. That's why it is 8.5. I'll roll that across. 8.5. My bust point is 11. I'll roll that across as well. I'll label it. This is my chest line, bust point. The next thing I'm to do now is to measure out my waistline. But now the waistline is not going to be the same for the front pattern and for the back pattern. You notice that the chest line is the same thing for the front and for the back. The bust point is the same for the front and for the back. But for the waist, it is usually different. The waist, the length for the front is usually longer than the back because of the bust bulge. If you take your measurements accurately, you will discover that there is a difference of 1 to 2 inches or more depending on the person's measurements. The difference between my front waist length and the back is 1.5. The measurement from my neck to my waistline in the front is 17. So I'll be rolling that out for the front only. While for the back is 15.5. So this is the waist for the back. and this is the waistline for the front. So you might be wondering, how will the two side match up when there's a difference of 1.5? Don't worry, at the end of today you'll see that they would match up. So that means the length for the back two would reduce by 1.5. So I'll go up by 1.5 here, or just measure 21.5. So this is the M line, M for the back, while this is the M for the front. The next thing to do is to put in the circumference measurement. The first one is the bust. My bust, okay, this is the center front, while here is the center back. Note that this back pattern does not have zip allowance, so when you want to use yours, you will make sure to add zipper allowance. The bust measurement is 36, like I said earlier, that is 9. We will take the same measurement here. The waist is 32, that's 8, while the hip I'm working with here today is 40. I'll connect it. For the back, I'll measure the same thing, 36, that's the bust. I'll take the same measurement on the bust point. Waist 32, that's 8, hip 40. Now that we are done with that, the next thing to do is to draft the armhole. To do that, I'll measure my shoulder here. My shoulder is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I would measure that from the top of the pattern to meet the chest line. 8 inches. Shoulder 16. 16 divided by 2, 8. I'll come down by 1 inch. So this is the reason why 1 inch was added to the chest line measurement. Normally my chest line is 7.5, but because I'll still be taking out 1 inch here for the shoulder slope, I had to add 1 inch. That's why I added 8.5. So by the time I remove this 1 inch, I'll still have my 7.5. It will still be intact. I'll go up by 2 inches. On that 2 inches mark, I'll come in by half an inch. Then I'll connect it like this. From that half inch mark, connect it to the bust measurement with the armhole curve or freehand. Then from that half inch mark, I'll connect it to meet the shoulder line here. After which I'll drop the neckline. I'm using a basic neckline here of 3 by 3. You can use whichever neckline depending on the style you intend to make with the pattern. So connect it like this. So this is the shoulder slant. This is the shoulder. You will notice that the shoulder from the neck area is not straight. It is slanted. That's the reason why this has to be like this and not like this. That's why this is correct and this is not. The next thing to do is to drop the armhole for the back. It's a different process, but still you measure out the shoulder like we did here. My shoulder is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. For the back, I'll come it down by half an inch, not 1. Then I'm left with, I'll divide it into 2. I'm left with 8. Remember, this is 8.5. I'm left with 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. From that midpoint, I'll connect it to make the bust measurement here. Drop the neckline as well. I'm making use of 3 by 1 inch. Like I said, It depends on the style you intend to make. This can be more, it can be more, it can be lower. It can be 3 by 5, 3 by 4, 3 by 0.5, depends. So this is the shoulder sleeve for the back. We are almost done. The next thing to do now is to drop the dart. To drop the dart, you make use of your bust span. My bust span is 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. I'll be adding ½ inch to 8. That's 4. You'll mark out 4 inches. Again, my bust span is 7. Half of 7 is 3.5, because we assume that this is going to be on, this is on fold. This central front is on fold, so by the time we open it up, it will be 7. Adding ½ inch to it, because we'll still be taking out ½ inch for the dart. The next thing to do is to come down by 1 inch from the bust point. Come down by 1 inch from the bust point. Measure the 4 as well across all through. You can stop the dart line exactly on the hem line. You can go up by 2 inches, you can go up by 1 inch. But I will be going up by 1 inch. That's what I do, and that's what works for me. And I'm sure it will work for you as well. So I'll connect the 4 inches like this. Come down by 1 inch from the bust point, go up by 1 inch from the hem line. So this is the apex of the dart, and this is the end of the dart. The next thing to do is to come out by ½ inch on both sides, and then connect. So that was the reason why I added ½ inch to the bust span. Because if I had measured 3.5 inches directly, and then I go ahead to take ½ inch, I'll be left with 6, which is not enough for my bust span. So yes. The next thing to do is to drop the dart for the back. The same thing, come down by 1 inch from the bust point, go up by 1 inch on the hem line, measure your bust span, that's 4 inches. Or connect it. Let's cross check it. Yes, 4, 4. On the waistline, come out by ½ inch on both sides. Connect it. Now that I've taken out the dart, we will need to add out what was taken from the measurement. You know, this is ½ inch on both sides, that's 1 inch. We've taken out this 1 inch. It means the waist measurement that we measured earlier has reduced by 1 inch. So we have to return it, so that at the end of the day, when sewing, what you have on your fabric will be able to accommodate the waist measurement. We'll connect it. If this is not done, then it means there will be shortage. When joining, it won't be enough to accommodate the waistline, because already we have taken out 1 inch from the dart. That's why we have to add it back. We'll do the same for the back pattern as well. Add the 1 inches and connect it. Connect it to the hemline as well. The next thing to do is to take out the bust dart. To take out the bust dart, remember that we said the waistline measurement for the front is different from the back, and the difference between mine is 1.5. So that 1.5, you'd measure it, you come down from your bust point. That's the reason why that's the reason why this bust point, the line is important. This bust point, you come down by 1.5. If yours was 2, you come down by 2 inches. If yours is 1, you come down by 1 inch. Then you go in by 4 inches or 4.5, and then connect it this way. So by the time we take this in, this waistline at the sides will match up. You'll see it when we are done and I cut it out. The next thing to do now is to, you'll notice that on some outfits the zipper area usually do bulge. To not have that, to eliminate that, you have to take out ½ inch from the waistline at the center back. This way it won't bulge. So you measure ½ inch on the waistline. You go ahead to connect it to the bust point here and to the hem line. So this place will be taken out. It means this is the new center back. So it is from here that you will measure your zipper allowance. If you are using 2, you are using 1 inch. It's from here that you will measure it. Now the ½ inch that was taken away from this place has to be returned as well, for the measurement to be correct and accurate when joining. Don't mind the shape of the pattern. By the time you are sewing it, everything will align and match up. We are done drafting our full scale basic bodice. If it's an half scale basic bodice you need, then you will just be stopping. You'll be stopping at the waistline. You won't have this. You'll just stop here. That's why I said this is a 2-in-1. I'll be cutting it out now to show you, and to show you that these two sides will match up. This is the center back. So by the time we take out the bust darts like this, so here it is. Can you see that it matches up now? This is the chest line, the 8.5. This is the bust point. Here is the waistline. You can see that it matches up. Yes. So see that it matches up. The hem line, the waist, the bust point, and the chest line as well. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you understand, and I hope you will try yours.